Not even Sandra, like, guys, Peter.
All right, Peter, talk for the next hour and a half by yourself. Did an hour. I really feel like he spoke to me from the heart. And that's all, folks.
And we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Dairy Aisle. It's your host, Eli. With me is the third handsomest man in the business, my co-host, your friend, the beautiful James Mazzareto, everybody.
Oh, thank you.
This is where we insert the clapping.
No
by the
applause
way.
needed. Yeah.
No, we can start
here.
clapping now.
Yeah, start the clapping here.
Now the clapping, right.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's so great to be loved by all of you.
All of them. All five of them that listen. Including Greg, the one schizophrenic out in Arkansas.
Oh, no, he's hardcore. He's never leaving.
Shout out to you, Greg.
Greg's the best, dude.
Love you, baby. So like we mentioned in the last episode, we did go dark for a week. Sorry about that.
I'm not sorry. Eli's sorry.
Whatever.
Well,
one of us is sorry at least. You get 50% apology. So we've been trying to set up something a little special since last episode. And we told you a little bit about it. There was some info in the show notes. For those of you that didn't know about it or that didn't read, today is our interview. Or that can't read because there's some of...
Don't be ableist.
You know, I like to think that the literacy rate is pretty high amongst our listeners. All five of them, including Greg. Shout out to Greg.
He's on his fourth Goosebumps book.
I'm so proud of him.
He's so good.
All right, shoppers. As promised on our last episode, with us today is Peter Santa Maria. Now, for those of you who don't know Peter, he's a Miami-based artist, teacher, and musician. Now, he's known galaxy-wide for his linoleum block prints, his recent release of a Star Wars Darth Vader t-shirt at Hot Topic, and his appearance at MegaCon Orlando, Florida SuperCon here in Miami, and most recently, the San Diego Comic-Con. After a whirlwind of a year, coming to you from planet Earth, the all-powerful AttackPeter.
Peter's had like this amazing, crazy year. And he's had like a ton of rise in his business and his career, and we wanted to get, his thoughts on it, and we thought it'd be really dope to also, pick the brain of someone who's super famous and awesome.
Exactly.
So.
Interviewing the stars.
So man, Peter, you can't let anyone down, especially Greg.
Super low stakes. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
Hey, everybody, hello. Welcome Peter Santa Maria.
Clapping.
Those claps are for me, Millie, not for you.
Yes. So how you been?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
You've had a long.
It's been a long
ride, huh?
It's been nuts. Been a lot of ups and ups, no downs. It's been a great year.
Just up.
I'm gonna use only turns of phrase to describe everything. Take the good with the bad, and
low column A, low column B.
But you finally get right to the. I didn't need turn of phrase. Right.
Quick Google, give me turn of phrases.
Hey Siri.
Know when to hold them. I'm gonna say I'm out of context for the rest of it.
For the whole interview, yes. How was first off? How was Comic-Con? The great and powerful Comic-Con.
That was awesome. I was there for a week in San Diego, and lucky enough to be flown out and sponsored by the Kevin Workman Foundation, which is a program that finds up-and-coming artists, sponsors them, selects them out of a sea of applicants, and then features them in their booth. Getting a booth at Comic-Con is really hard. So there's usually like a wait list. I hear about 5 minutes or so. So 5 minutes. Listen to me.
That's a great way. It's a whole 5 minutes.
The whole time I'm answering this, someone's like dilly-dallying with a microphone in front of me, okay? Breaking the fourth wall here. Literally every podcaster in this room is touching my microphone. That's not a euphemism.
Sorry, we're a very open, crew.
My head's going up and down and left. Right.
We're trying to test the gyroscopic properties of your neck.
This is a really good mic stand.
Also, man, your multitasking ability is incredible.
Yeah, I do a lot of things at once. Are you kidding me? I'm a teacher. I have to have the multitasking skills of a fly.
Wait.
Yeah, flies can do a bunch
I assumed.
They can vomit, fly, and then...
Well, I assumed they have so many eyes they could see so many... Okay, multitasking in terms of what they can perceive.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Same like a comedian, right?
Is anybody going to sit here and say they know the most about flies? Because I feel like we're all just BSing at that point.
I'm not.
I don't have enough information.
Any fact you say about a fly at this point, like someone's going to be like, yeah, I guess. I mean, I'm not going to bother Googling it. So.
I'm not experienced enough in the topic to really argue with you, so I'm just going to agree.
Although, you know what? If we ever live stream a podcast, we're going to do live fact-checking.
Yeah.
God, I can't wait.
It's going to be like the debates. It's going to be awesome.
So you got to be in the Kevin
Workman Foundation sponsor. So it's awesome because if you try to apply for Comic-Con in San Diego, unlike other conventions, you need to get on a wait list. And even then, you're not it's expensive. If you're an artist alley, they'll give you a free table. But if you want a booth, which is how I show my artwork, you need to pay a pretty good amount of money. And then at the same time, it's a wait list. So with the Kevin Workman Foundation, you just skip all that, which is why it's so special.
Yes, like booked for you. Basically,
done. You don't really have to do anything. You just
show up.
You just kind of show up. Yeah,
and it's a full booth. Like I saw the picture on Instagram.
No, it's huge. It's very.
Yeah, it was a lot of space.
It's strange because if you don't do a lot of conventions, you don't realize how important your location is, and that booth space was prime. So a lot of the success that we had, I'm sure, could be attributed to that location as well, because literally anybody in that convention walked by. Everybody.
So were you next to anything like else that was like really, really big?
I mean, San Diego, again, compared to like a lot of other conventions, has everybody's, like, every booth there is a huge company or an artist who's been, grinding for a long time. But we were, a stone's throw away from like Blizzard, Mondo posters, which is probably the most desirable product maker at the whole convention. Every morning we would wake up and get to the convention, and as soon as those doors open, it's like you would think they were handing out bread at Mad Max Thunderdome, or water is the actual resource. Yeah, water. And people just lined up. It was like massive, and I'm just crazy. Like, well, let me just try to get all the runoff, and if I can get 1% of the people who didn't get into that line, I'd be set.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, I mean, like, we were close to all the video game companies, Capcom and all that, and then but it doesn't matter because anywhere you're set up in that convention is planned out so well that if you're an attendee and you want to see anything, you're going to walk by. So it's good in that regard.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you been to New York Comic Con?
I haven't been to it. Okay. I had been to San Diego before as an attendee, and I haven't been to New York. The only conventions I've been to outside of San Diego are the ones that I exhibit at. So it's a huge difference.
You were in New York recently this year, weren't you?
Yeah, we did a show in New York called Brooklyn 5 Points, sponsored by Clutter Magazine and a few other companies, and it's really like more of a toy show, an art show. Toy in the sense that's like custom, vinyl figures made by artists, like toys as art.
Right.
So like awesome. Sculpture, but like not marble sculpture, it's or carved wood. It's like vinyl cast, taking the look of the old vinyl kaiju figures, and then doing new takes on that. And they're limited, they're kind of hard to make. So there's like a lot of demand for them.
Oh, that's because they're all handmade by.
Well, not handmade, but it's just like you need a lot of connections to fabrication factories in Japan or China, and so it's not easy to even like. Let's say you have the money and the wherewithal to do it and the designs, you still need to like have the contacts. So it's tough to get into that market. So everybody convenes there. People fly from. We saw people who had arrived from all over the world to get artwork or figures by James Groman, who's the creator of Mad Balls. If you remember when we were kids, Mad Balls, and a bunch of other toys. Like if you look up his resume, he basically is responsible for so many of the toys you played with. But he's now doing his own designs, sculpted, painted, and fabricated. And literally, that's the guest of honor. That's the kind of show this is. Mm-hmm. And so people were flying in from all over just to get into a lottery to be able to buy his toys.
Wow.
So they fly in from China, and they're not even guaranteed the opportunity to buy it.
You have to win a spot.
You have to get in a lottery. And you can only get in the lottery if you're there at the show.
That's nuts.
So there's like, it's like you learn about, when you do all these shows, you learn about all the different sectors of fandom and these collectors that exist and these different worlds of art and creators. And then you realize how the spikes in passion are just as big, even if they're in a small niche community, as they would be for, I don't know, people who want to get into Hall H at Comic-Con, which is a big demand.
Exactly.
Same thing.
Yeah. But you had a good time then, basically.
I always have a good time. It's a lot of work. For the first time at any convention, I had to leave early one day because I think I was so overwhelmed with the amount of people that showed up to our booth.
And this is at San Diego?
San Diego Comic-Con. I thought we were prepared. We had done big crowds, but nothing like that. And I started to get like a migraine, I think, or like
just like
my eye was tearing up, like my head was pulsating.
I'm extroverting too hard.
It was I've never had that. I've never had that situation, and I don't know if it was because of that, but it was just like we also went to like a tiki bar the night before, so there might have been something to that.
Maybe some dehydration.
Maybe, but
The dark lights.
Yeah, but it was
knows?
crazy. So like I actually had to
Dark
leave early,
arts.
which was crazy.
That's great. So it's been a busy con season for you.
Yeah.
How many cons did you go to? this
4
year?
so far. We have one more before we wrap it up, and that's MegaCon Orlando. We do 5 Points in Brooklyn, SuperCon in Miami, San Diego Comic Con, and then we'll do Designer Con in Anaheim, and that'll be enough.
When is the designer
That's
comp?
enough for
It's
you.
in November in Anaheim. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so it's spaced out a little bit. You guys
A little bit. These were all next year. I'm going to try to do better with planning, and maybe we can attend some shows that we're like invited to. Some people have been like kind enough to invite us to their show. We'll see if that pans out, which means I don't have to pay for anything. I just get to go.
Because you're a rock star. Does Rockstar shit?
Well, I don't know. I think there's a lot of like hype, and the artwork is different. And I also think, we create my wife Gabby and I, we create like an enjoyable experience at our booth. So there's some times where at least myself as an attendee, I've been up close to a creator, an artist, and not really felt like I was welcome there, even though I was there to purchase or gush over the guy's work. So we try to like create a good environment. So I think we have a nice blend of things happening, and I feel like maybe that's, in addition to the artwork, people think that we would be a good addition to their show. And so hopefully that's what's happening.
All right. Sweet.
Flattering.
So
yeah, stoked.
I had a couple of questions I wanted to ask you. I wanted to start with essentially your origin story.
Let's get to know people.
Yeah.
You already overhyped it by calling it an origin story. It sounds so dynamic.
It's like you're an artistic
Incredible.
superhero.
Yeah, bro.
We gotta.
You were just walking by.
He said
one day
artistic,
as a
by the way.
child.
Did I say
fell
artistic?
in.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, make sure everybody heard artistic.
Yeah, I'm not the
superhero.
other one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, he's not autistic. He's artistic.
So we don't want to confuse anyone. So, how did you discover that you had any artistic talent?
Like, sometimes my students will ask me questions like that. I teach art as well. And, a lot of the misconception is that you're born with some kind of ability. I don't think so. I think you're probably born with certain interests, or you're, attracted to some parts of life and not others. And I always drew, and all my friends did too when I was young. And then eventually some of them stopped, and I still wanted to do it. And, but it wasn't like I was saying, this is the first steps of my, career. Never thought like that. In fact, I always thought it was not for me, because all along the way, there was always at least a third of the group that was better than me, whether it was in class or, even going to conventions and meeting other artists. I just never thought, even in art school at university, there was always people better than me. And then that motivated me, because I have a competitive drive. And maybe for the wrong reasons, I was like, I have to beat these people. Like that.
For the
like
very
that.
right reason.
But you know what I mean? Like that's there are some
exactly
people
what you
who
mean.
I know who are just motivated by the craft, and I'm getting to that point. But for a long time when I was younger, I was just, playfully competitive. Like I like that. Like that guy's awesome, or she's incredible. I have to destroy it.
So
I have
you were
to get
using
it.
them as like goalposts. Like
Or like
that's my next goal.
Yeah, or like why am I even in this arena if I'm not going to try to level up? So I think that really is it. I left making art for a while and started getting into music, and that took up a lot of my late teens and early 20s. And I when I had a really fortunate music career, although it was short-lived, it was going well. And then when my band signed a deal to a record label and the singer quit shortly after, I decided I still want to be in a creative world, but I don't want to be reliant on 4 other eccentric personalities, which is what happens when you do anything creative in a group.
What band was it? Sorry.
It was a band called Twice the Sun, and we were on Roadrunner Records for like a minute, and it was the same label that had Slipknot and Nickelback and Killswitch Engage, which are all like big bands now.
Yeah.
Nickelback and Slipknot were big back then, but at the time it was a really awesome opportunity, and I was 19 when I signed a deal, and I didn't know anything, but at the same time, now what I realize what the issue is when you get into an endeavor with other creatives. A lot of creative people are weird, man, and hard to be around. I am for sure, and so I know that I need like a certain lifestyle to be comfortable and to be creative, and that can be very particular, and therefore when you try to be around other people, much less create with other people, you can find yourself bumping heads a lot. So, one thing I learned back then from the guy who was producing us is that the majority of bands that exist, you never hear about because they get signed and something happens and they quit before the record even comes out.
Oh, so they just like fall apart.
They fall apart
in, the middle
in
of
that process. No, once they hit that thing they were going for, it's so overwhelming. So many things are put to the test. You're not just hanging out and having fun with your friends. Now you got to split the profits, decide who's going to be in charge of making decisions for
their expectations.
Yeah,
too. Like
the business kicks in, and you're 5 dudes who are just making stuff, and you're not prepared to be in business. But that was so important for where I am now because I learned a lot about business without really realizing I was doing so. And I really feel like, to go back to talking with my students about why things seem to be working out and the momentum is going forward is because, you have to have a decision. You have to make a decision. Like, do you want to do this for fun? Is it something that you enjoy to do for yourself? Do you want to, profit off of it and then be able to sustain yourself off of it? Well, you have to have a business mentality. And it's hard to learn that. And luckily I learned that with the band.
Yeah. And it sounds like, just like the way in which you got into art and stayed in art. Yeah. You had the tenacity to do that already.
Yeah. I think I'm really stubborn and I don't like doing a lot of other things. And I respect certain creative, certain artists so much, whether it's musicians or visual artists, that I always just wanted to be in the proximity of the people I respect. I think that's really what it comes down to. I love to draw, and now it's becoming more that I realize that I'm enjoying this in spite of all that or without all that. But early on, all I wanted to do was be around people who I respected and motivated me and inspired me, and those were the artists or musicians. A lot of them are not the best people to be around once you get past what they put out, but some of them are the best people to be around because they are the apex of creativity, productivity, and being sensible people enough to have sustained themselves. And so that's what made me want to pursue it. I have to be around these people. I had to be around.
That's
them.
awesome.
That's it.
So
That's
following your heart.
Yeah, I just want to be accepted among my peers. It's almost like partially that and partially a fear of shame. I have a fear of. It's less and less and less as I get older. But the truth is, I have such a fear of the shame of either putting something out and the people and an artist I respect seeing it and going, "Oof, what is this?" That's one part of it. And the other part of it is the shame that I would have in myself when I'm 60 years old one day saying, you didn't do anything. You could have done a lot. You didn't do anything.
Oh, damn.
And so that is huge for me. And it makes me able to eliminate a lot of outside influences in my life, whether it's, certain friends or extended members of my family, which, you want to have those relationships. But I've gotten to a point where I can say I need to sacrifice here and there so I can not be full of regret later. Maybe I regret not spending time with people later, but I feel like there's a good balance.
Your craft right now is the number one.
Yeah.
That's a problem for future you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Because when you think about it, I feel like a lot of people use it as an excuse. They say, I wish I had more time. I get that a lot.
It is an excuse.
Look.
You make time if you want to.
Yeah. I feel like if you really cut down, cut down to business, there's another turn of phrase I used. Well, are we keeping score?
Yeah, million. I want a counter. I want a ding.
I feel like that's 3. But if you really look at what you're doing with your time, I feel like you have time. And sometimes we do things, well, I'll speak for myself. I've been guilty of saying, well, I got to go visit so-and-so, or I have to take care of X errand, so I can't get any work done today. But then I get to a point where you just kind of have to lose your mind a tiny bit where you say, I don't care about any of this today.
Yeah.
I don't care about this today. I'll get to it when I get to it. Mm-hmm. Some like today, we've been so busy the last month preparing for all these shows that I haven't sat down to pay my car bill. It's one of my only bills that are not auto pay.
Yeah.
And I've gotten 2 emails hey, are you going to pay the car bill? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to.
Which, by the way, bullshit. Get on auto pay. Whoever the car company is.
I know, right? It's weird. I was telling Gabby this morning. It's
2019 I'm an adult.
It's so weird. But anyway, it's I haven't done it yet, but it'll get done. I used to say, well, can't get to work right now. Got to go do that. And then my whole creative energy would be out the window. And then it would lead into something else.
Do you think that's maybe also a little bit of fear that like you don't want to dive all the way in because you're scared that you'll fail?
Yeah,
because I feel like
100%.
that's where like
I don't care about
for me. That's what it comes down.
I would rather fail attempting something than regret not attempting something. And I also think that's part of why I've had some success, because a lot of people I know, when I was growing up in school, there were 2 artists. One of them who I still keep in touch with today. His name is Eric Bonham, and he's a Skull Crusher, I think, or Skull Bash Hero on Instagram if you want to look him up. He's amazing. But it was him and another friend of mine who I don't want to name, but he was so great. He was by far the best artist that I knew at the time, and he never really turned it into anything. And I think he had a fear of it's not good enough. And I'm telling you, the guy was better than I probably will ever be.
Oh, he was just his worst critic.
Yeah. And so part of me realizes, like, put stuff out. The stuff that you think is your best work, sometimes people will never respond to it. And the thing that you almost deleted or threw away, it might be the thing that everybody digs. That's happened to me so many times that I just don't interfere anymore. I make something, I finish it all the way through, and I put it out. And then, just momentum. Next thing. I don't get attached to anything.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm on to the next one.
Next thing.
If you like
next
it, you like
thing.
it. If you don't, you
next,
don't.
And it's fine. Just keep going. And it's always surprises me what the things are that people latch onto, what the pieces are they latch onto. So I'm not worried about
that. Really quick.
Yeah.
What is the piece that was most surprising that people really loved?
It's like every time I make something, first of all, the fact that everything that people dig is like is a big monster drawing, and I feel like I don't know if the people were gonna dig that when I started doing it.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. When I went through your shop, I was like, "That Cthulhu is."
Yeah. Oh, that's one of them. I thought no one was gonna dig this.
I love Cthulhu.
Either no one was gonna think this, or everybody's gonna think that I have some like secret satanic crush because people don't read. And they don't realize that it's like fiction written by an American author named H.P. Lovecraft, and anyway. So, but
he's dope.
But that one got a strong response, and I guess more importantly, I'm surprised that any of the pieces that I've made have caught the attention of some of the companies that I've been working for lately.
Oh, really?
Because I felt like even if you like it, it doesn't look anything like mainstream commercial art at all. It doesn't fit with what comics look like.
Yeah.
It doesn't, which is one of the things I wanted to do. It doesn't fit with what concept art looks like for films, which is people who design things, while films are being made.
Yeah, like storyboarding.
Yeah, or even like designing like, creatures and suits, whatever. Yeah. It doesn't look like anything that I see in this realm, of pop culture. So I thought maybe I can make some money doing this. But I definitely had no anticipation that I'd be able to link up with any collaborators, big companies, and have merchandise made or release an official licensed image, because it was just so different. So that's what I'm telling you. I don't think about it anymore.
You just do what you do.
Just gonna do it, and then
you're a bender robot.
That's
you
it.
bend.
That's it. Yeah. And that's what I think a lot of people have a tough time accepting. Like, just make the thing that you like. If you like it, someone else probably likes it too, and probably a good amount of people.
Yeah,
because you're not that weird usually.
No, and especially now with pop culture being such like a norm for art mediums.
Oh my God!
Like
yeah.
that's becoming the inspiration for people. Being into like nerdy stuff isn't like a thing that you do in your basement anymore. It's,
right.
You're loud and proud about it. Like you decorate your house with it. You put stickers on your car. It's on your keychain.
Yeah, you have jocks with like Spider-Man logos on their car and shit. Like
it happens.
And it's such a crazy thing, because I think with the advent of like Instagram and stuff like that, where you can have like these independent artists and independent businesses have a platform to really expand on. Like, you can have an Instagram and link it to an account, and you have a business.
Yeah.
So I think like because it's so saturated, and people I think try to make things that are already popular, having something that's so different and so standout and so and stylized is what catches the eye.
Yeah,
it's like, you have a vision. Holy shit, that's what we need. We need vision.
Yep.
Yeah, I lucked out, I feel like, in that department, because I work in a medium that's not super common in the realm that I'm working in pop culture, although there are many incredible printmakers out there. But I'm not really traditionally trained as a printmaker. Like, I took printmaking in college. I learned some of the different techniques, and I taught it to middle school kids. But I always saw myself as an illustrator, and the medium of printmaking is working in tandem with the fact that all my influences are very stylized artists. In other words, you know who the artist is when you see the artwork.
Yeah.
So those are all
like
my
your
favorite.
signature.
So to me, that
when you see Dali, you know it's Dali.
yeah. And so like the artists that I always looked to were stylized. Therefore, I always tried to find that in my own work. I was never satisfied with drawing realistic. Like that was a good thing to learn, but it wasn't something I aspired to.
Yeah, that was nothing caught your eye.
It was like fundamental. Yeah. You need to learn skills like to be able to exaggerate and stylize later, but that's it. So I would work with, working in printmaking is been lucky for me because it allows me to make artwork and then reproduce handmade items for everybody. So anybody can come in. Whereas if you go to buy a handmade original drawing from a painter, an illustrator, at any level of success for that artist, it's still going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
Because it's a one of a kind. Because the handmade item is one of a kind, then they reproduce it digitally, whatever. So mine are reproduced by hand every time. So it's like it democratizes the market.
Yeah.
And I feel like so far
it's an original print.
Yeah, and I'm lucky in the fact that that's something that I do that not a lot of people offer. You can buy from me, you can spend $60, which some people will charge for a digital reproduction of a poster at full, like big size. And for me, you can get something that I made by hand. That's the real it's a one handmade item. And that's why I've been fortunate that I use that medium because it gives people that opportunity.
It's always so interesting to hear about like stories like that because it's always like you fell into it.
Yeah.
Like it's something that you were just playing around
Yeah.
and it was something you never thought it would be. And then it ends up being like the one thing
Yeah.
that you're like, holy shit, like I made it.
In fact, the first conventions I did, I only did like a few prints. Like I was doing a little bit of printmaking, carving pieces of wood and rolling ink and all that on the paper and on the carving and printing the paper off of it. But I was doing mostly like paintings, digital illustrations. I threw everything at the wall.
Okay, so you like shotgunned it. You were like,
Yeah,
something else. Because
I didn't even think of myself as someone that was trying to create a singular aesthetic. I was just, I make a bunch of stuff and I'm going to put it on a table and see what people think.
By the way, throw it at the wall. Another turn of phrase.
Oh, yeah,
Ding,
but
ding.
that was you.
No, it was you.
That was me?
I said shotgun blast. You said,
look at that.
You said throw it at the wall.
We're going to have
four.
two different tones of bongs and or bings.
Yeah, bing.
Bing bong.
So, but, I think to your point, if you're going to be successful, it's because you don't even realize that you're in the grind 24/7. Yeah. You're just in it. You can't do anything else.
Yeah, who's that? Who's the Gary V? I think says it.
I
He's
love
like,
him.
you gotta love the process.
I love that guy.
Yeah, that guy's the shit, dude. Whenever you're down, it's like you go to him, The Rock, and then like a Kevin Hart, and they're all just like, you can do it. You can do anything.
Yeah.
I work 26 hours a day.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right.
But also, those are the voices.
You broke time, but all right.
Yeah, those are the voices that I've been hearing in my head. Not that I've predicted these people's existence, but voices like that. Yeah.
I knew it.
Well,
this
my own
explains so much.
It's
all coming together now.
I can't sit on a couch for more than 10 to 15 minutes without feeling like something saying, you're really being lazy right now.
Yeah, get up and go do something.
Like, hey, you could be using this time to not be lazy.
Well, because if you have so much time and you prioritize, I'd rather spend time with my family than watch TV. I'd rather hang out with my friends than watch TV. I'd rather go on a date with my wife than watch TV. And I'd rather make artwork than watch TV. So anytime I'm sitting down to rest, there's a little bit of time that I'm allowed to do it. And then I start getting that, come on, let's go. Get up. You're not going to have time later. Come on. Let's go,
Yeah, like you need it. We need it.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, and I notice that like that seems to be the same mentality with people who actually like create something or have created something with any definable level of consistency. Is that once you get that bug of like I made something from start to finish, the world has seen what I've made, and there's been a response, positive or negative, but you enjoyed the response.
Yeah,
there's no going back anymore.
Right.
Like like me in now like watching more stand-up comedy and like learning a little bit more about it so I can get ready for September, I'm realizing like if my open mic night even goes 1% all right, that's it. Like I'm gonna have a pen and a pad of paper with me at all times,
dude. Even if
to start writing down material. Yeah, that's the other thing. Even if I bomb,
Yeah.
the fact that I got up there and I did it, and I was like, okay, so that's what it's like to write down material experiment a little bit, and then go up and see how a crowd of people like it and see how the room sounds.
I feel like you have to embrace the bomb if that's what happens.
Oh, for sure.
Well,
You have to embrace the suck,
you were talking
dude.
about Gary Vee, and there was something that my sister had told me about an episode with him where he was like, you need to learn to like love failure.
Yeah.
And there's a thing he said in that episode where he was like, failure is not a bad thing. You should love failure because all failure is an indication that you tried. Because I'd rather fail at something and say like, well, you know what? I did it though. Have you done it?
Yeah,
If you haven't,
at least I gave it a shot.
Yeah, you haven't failed, but you're also lazy. You haven't even attempted it.
There's
Like,
also this weird thing when you start creating, you don't want to consume as much. It's like it activates like a different part
That's what happened with the podcast.
of your brain. Yeah, you're just
I've stopped listening to podcasts almost
Yeah.
entirely now, with the exception of like the NPR stuff and like some of the story podcasts. I barely download new podcasts
I watch
anymore.
things now and I watch it for technique. I watch it
Yeah.
for like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're doing there. It's like sneaky. Okay, I get it. You start breaking it down and then you're not really even enjoying the content. You're kind of just
You're studying.
in class. Yeah, you're like, okay, what's that? What are you
Well,
doing?
I like it. It feels good though. Like constantly learning about that kind of stuff, especially if it's helping you improve your craft. It's becoming a thing where like I'm feeling it now, and I'm getting that whole thing now where like I'll watch stand up and I'm not watching it to enjoy it anymore. I'll laugh if the joke is good. I'll laugh. But at the same time, I'm watching how they move. I'm watching their delivery, their cadence, the tempo with which they speak, how they move. Do they gesticulate a lot for that type of a joke?
Yeah.
Do you kind of is it better to stand still and deadpan it?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Granted, it's different from person to person. But just that need to study now and just watch the thing
awesome.
that you like. Yeah.
But I think that's just, speaks to identity. You find an identity through your quest and your struggle. And I think a lot of people, they can enjoy failing because it's an indication that they're on a path.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're doing something.
I tell Gabby every time, like the more good things have happened for us in our career, the more I want to throw random darts out and see what sticks, because
Something's gonna stick.
Because it's so silly. Like I always tell her that this is really living like like the beginning of a strange and awesome dream. So why not just play around and be silly? Like I made some custom Vans on the Vans website recently.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, on the Vans website, anybody can go onto the website and upload a picture and place it on a 3D model of the Vans shoe. And as long as you're not violating any copyright property, they will fabricate it and send it to you.
That's awesome.
That's a feature on their website.
I didn't know that they did that.
Right, me neither.
Remember Nike ID that you could go online and make like custom Nikes?
Oh, it's like the same
thing.
concept.
Same thing.
But with art now that you
Yes.
it's just like a blank canvas, but in shoe form.
Yeah. You could also just make your own shoe without a photo or art or whatever.
Oh,
but-
okay. It could just be like a pattern or something.
Yeah, you could just use their template. But the point is, I told to show you an example of not failure, but something that doesn't amount to anything, right? So I made a bunch of shoes. I made like 5 or 6 different pairs, and I posted them all on Instagram. And I wrote, "Hey, this is probably not going to amount to anything, but let's everybody tag Vans to see if I can get them to look at these and see if I can get like some kind of licensing partnership. Why not? I've had so many other weird, cool things I never expected to be real.
That's like a Greg Miller move right there.
Well, yeah.
Like, hey, audience, tag.
Yeah, who cares?
This company, dude.
Who cares? Some people.
love it.
I have some good friends who are very wise and very smart and very successful in the art world who have a total different approach. Was like, don't pursue something like that. Don't seek something like that. Don't be audacious and ask for things like that because it can come across as rude. And I don't. And some people really believe that culturally. That's a thing in some cultures. But I'm not doing anything bad. I made something. I'm contributing. I'm creating something of value to at least some people.
You're also not tempting fate or anything. You're putting it out there.
Literally
You're doing it in good faith.
Yeah, I put the Creature from the Black Lagoon and Godzilla on a pair of Vans, and I put pictures up, and then I said, "Let's see if I can get 50 of you guys to tag Vans."
Yeah.
Dude, like over 600 people liked, commented at Vans in different capacities, like just at Vans or at Vans. I really want these, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And look, it hasn't amounted to anything yet, but this is funny. We were at Comic-Con, so across the country, and everybody came to the booth asking to see the Vans. And luckily, we had already gotten one of the pairs, and Gabby was wearing them.
Dude, dope.
And so I'm like, this is cool. Like, you just put something out, and to what you were saying about Instagram before, you create an audience. They obviously are sticking around for a reason. So give them more of what you're doing, and I feel like if you're persistent enough, if you market yourself, which is what the hashtags are great for, if you engage in the social media like it's a community, it's going to grow. People are going to celebrate you, and you're providing entertainment for them on their phone and potentially a product for a company to sell. Yeah. So what's wrong with that?
And they're supporting you, right? Yeah. Like, it's also a great way to see how many like diehard, fans, like real supporters that you have. Like 600 people, that's a lot of people
to just comment. That's crazy. Yeah. And so to me,
that's a call to action too. Like,
And it's funny because, like I said, I treat Instagram as it's a community, which is something that we learned from guys like Gary Vee, Like, and it's amazing because it's not like, it didn't blow my mind like, oh wow, what a new concept. It's like, that is what it should be. It should be like when you were on a message board in the early 2000s for like a specific thing that you liked that 20 other people were into, and you knew everybody on the board. So we treat Instagram like that, where it's like, if I'm a fan of somebody, I fan hard over things, I go to their page, I comment, I talk about it, and, that invites them to say, who's this? See my stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes those people are not that well known on Instagram. Sometimes they're really well known on Instagram. And some of those people look at my page and go, dang, I like what you're doing too.
Yeah.
And some of those people will repost you. And then you grow your game like that. And it's just, it rewards the good behavior of actually caring about the community that you're in.
Yeah. It's like collaborative competition.
Yeah.
Where like you're all chasing after the same thing, but like you can do it in a way where everyone, like, what is it? Like high tide raises all.
Yeah, there's no
like
bam. There's no shortage of audience, and I'm a fan and buy things from a million different businesses, artists, So it's not like if
you had on your stories, who's the guy drawing?
Everybody, dude. Oh man. My first goal when I got to Comic-Con was to, I went to Comic-Con for the last time in 2007, but I had gone in 2002 and 2003 as well. And I met a bunch of artists that really changed how I think about things in 2003 and 2002. And in 2007, when I came back, I brought some artwork with me. And it was really bizarre stuff. It was like stop motion puppets that were like from a film. I was doing stop motion animation, like what Nightmare Before Christmas is.
Yeah.
And
dude, you're like a super creative. This is amazing.
Well, but the thing is, I didn't have the desire to actually make a film. It was too much work. I didn't want to do it. So I would take still images from certain scenes and blow them up like they're paintings and frame them.
Oh, cool.
And they were kind of cool. I thought they were cool. But at the time, like I was getting ripped apart by the art department that I was like a part of in FIU. Oh my God, they said horrific things. They said that I still think the stuff's pretty cool. And but back then,
tearing it apart.
Oh my God, there were a few professors that defended me that I think knew where I was coming from and what I was trying to do. But a bunch of them were saying, and this is like an open critique in front of 100 other students.
Jesus.
Yeah, and all the staff and faculty, and like, oh man, what you're doing is like a little cutesy, or it looks like you're.
Did they say contrived?
No, they said worse things. They said that they looked like I was trying to emulate like cartoons for kids, but it was worse than that because it wasn't even at that level for commercial purpose. It looked commercial without the benefit of making any money. And so like it's like like one guy was sitting next to me and literally told me that, like, he thought he was doing me a favor. And he goes, "Look, man, I mean, what you're doing is really bad." And it's bad. It's bad in the sense that like it's harming the art world by like that. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then I had another professor at the critique tell me, I mean, this is worse than those calendars that you see like with cats that are posed doing human things like buying groceries. Dude, I went home and had a real rough night because I had put a lot of work into that.
You just got told by all your peers that not only was it bad, it was worse than bad.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is there was a lot of people who were into it and they couldn't defend it in a fine arts, way to make it acceptable by the highbrow, exclusive artists, I used to hate that. It was like very exclusive. Like the stuff they would celebrate is stuff that I couldn't share with my uncle or my grandparents because they didn't have an art background.
Yeah.
And I hated that. So, but to go back to what I was saying before is that I went to Comic-Con and met these artists. They inspired me tremendously. And so the first thing I did when I got back there was try to find them all.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I wanted to go up to them and bring them a print and tell them that it's been like almost 15, 16 years since I first got into what you were doing, and remotely, virtually, without you having any idea, like I've been using you to like pull me through, using your artwork to pull me through figuring out what I'm doing, like a goalpost, like a beacon,
yeah.
And I think that a lot of people are, insecure or ashamed of admitting stuff like that, especially when you're now at the level where you're quote unquote competing with them for market share and mind. And
you're a peer instead of like
not that I have accomplished what they've accomplished, but I'm on the floor.
Yeah.
And to somebody who's walking the floor, they don't know what I've done and what they've done. So that's big for me. It's big for me to go and to express gratitude to those people, because I don't know that they always know that. And when you're a teacher, if one student tells you, "Oh man, that was awesome," you feel pretty good. And you don't always get that response. But, to go to those people, that was my first thing, was to go and to let them know that I'm grateful, that and I wanted to share that, which is what I do on my Instagram. It's like, dude, if you don't know this person, because there are some people who are fans of mine now, which is still kind of weird to say, in the way that I am to them. So if those artists that I'm a fan of, if I read an interview with them and they said, I was really inspired by Mobius or, Chuck Jones, the animator, or whatever, I would go, who's that? And look him up and read everything about, because I want to be influenced by the artists that influence my art influences, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense.
So that I don't regurgitate.
There's degrees of separation.
Where did you get your
where did you learn?
from?
I want to try to rise to where you're at. What did you look at, right? And so I'm always thinking like, there's space for everybody. There's no famine. Let me show you what I get, get super energized by. And a lot of people are into that and they're grateful to learn. But there's some people who think that that's like a lame thing to do to it's like by expressing your gratitude and admiration for another artist, it subjugates you. It puts you lower.
Oh, see, but that's the famine mindset.
Yeah, but it's real. People do that.
Yeah, people
think that way. And I think that stifles a lot of people who are uncertain of their own value.
Yeah. But that's probably why they do it, right?
Yeah.
Because they're so insecure about what they can offer that they're like, I don't have the room in my ego to put myself even remotely under anyone, because then I'll lose it.
Yeah. And once you let go of all that, that's why I have the audacity to say everybody tag Vans.
Yeah, because you're just
because this is all silly. This is all silly. Like, this is all fun, and it's silly, and we're basically making drawings and paintings and playing with superheroes or whatever it is, and it's just silly,
Silly goose times.
And it's supposed to be the artwork or a convention is supposed to be a place where everybody gets together to like escape to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And if I can make a business out of being in that world 24/7, that's an awesome place to be. So it should be celebrating fun. Tag Vans. Let's see what happens.
Yeah,
we've done weirder things. We've gotten gigs, that are way more we never expected to get. So why not Vans?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why not?
Might as
and
well.
then, like you said, you guys showed up to the convention. People were asking you about shoes that didn't technically exist yet.
Yeah.
So imagine if they do exist, and now people can go online and buy them.
But you know what it also does? It also gives me the confidence to say, I need to start thinking about the artwork in different formats. So now I'm not going to just approach like publishers or people who own the licensing rights for these big properties like Marvel or DC. I'm going to go talk to all the shoe companies, all the bag companies, all the whatever, because that way, I get more chances to succeed. 100 of them will be failures, but one might be a success.
And there's like an industry for everything now.
Everything.
Like,
getting into that, I wanted to ask you, with all the time that you spent doing art all these years and going to these conventions and seeing all the different stuff that people put out, do you have an opinion on what like the future of art media looks like? Like different formats or mediums of art that people are going to be creating? Do you see anything that's emerging?
I always feel like I have no clue. So I always try to just do what I like. But I feel like you can see patterns in other media. So like in music. In music, you get like electronic music, and then you get like, or you get like disco, and then you get like, 70s rock. And then you get 80s new wave, and then you get 90s grunge, and it goes to digital or synthetic to organic to synthetic to organic.
For people who can't see,
I'm swinging my hands.
He's penduluming back and forth.
Yes, exactly. I forget this is
It's an
not a
audio
visual medium. But
Don't worry, there'll be videos soon.
But one thing that I think that is probably going to be in the future is just everything is going to be transient, disposable. Nothing is going to be like the next Mona Lisa or something like that because there's too much content being put out.
Right.
So I really think the visual art will be diverse and there'll be a million things going on. Who's to say? But I think that the most exciting things will be when you are literally virtually involved in whatever the artwork you're a fan of is. So like whether it's from VR or AR, stuff like that, you know.
It's so funny too because like you were saying, like everything is so saturated, right? Like there's so many people doing different things. I feel like if you have a following of like let's say a really strong following of like 1,000 people, like that's really even all you need.
It's huge.
It's like that's massive because if it's 1,000 people that are diehard, like they're going to support you. Like,
well, you referenced Greg Miller and Kind of Funny, and that one thing they talk about when they left IGN is they were trading reach for intimacy.
Yeah.
So you don't need to have a massive audience. You just need to have any amount of people who are interested in what you're doing and then treat them with the gratitude and respect that you should be treating people who are saying, hey, I like what you're doing. Do more of that.
Yeah. Because they're the people that they're the people that allow you to do that
street.
thing. Yeah. I mean, like what a crazy, like it has to feel really nuts to, like you said, like do this like silly thing. Like you're painting, you're doing art, you're being creative, you're having a good time. And that has become a way for you to not only connect with people and connect with the people that you look up to, but like make a living off of. Like it has to feel surreal.
Yeah, it's starting to get to the point where it could be a real living this year. That's recent, only this past year. A lot of this has happened in the past year, really, to be honest with you. Like I've been grinding for years and years, over a decade now, trying to find a place, where I fit in. And in the past year, I went to do a show in Anaheim called Designer Con. And when I was at that show, I met, I did the same thing I always do in every convention, but I met, reps from companies like Sideshow, collectibles like Super 7, and those partnerships, those collaborations, because they saw me there, turned into real business opportunities. And then those, I used those connections and those accomplishments to parlay into to trade up to another thing, not trade up, but to trade that into another contact, into another partnership. And so that's really how it's been working. But I didn't even expect to be at this point even a year ago. Not that this point is like the end all be all, but it's like to feel like I'm on a path.
This is the beginning of something new.
Yeah. This is the first time I feel like I'm in the beginning of something. And that's like after 12 years of grinding on something. Now I feel like I'm starting.
Have you grinded through different mediums of art?
Yeah. I used to paint almost exclusively, and I switched to printmaking because it was just easier to take the materials with me. Painting has a lot of setup and tear down, and a lot of little tubes and palettes and brushes and washing. With printmaking, I just need like one piece of linoleum, which I carve or wood, and I need a carving tool and a Sharpie, and I can go anywhere. I can go on the beach and work on it, which is partially why I did it.
Speaking of linoleum, what brought you to linoleum?
Well, linoleum is like a traditional printmaking material.
Oh, okay. So that's like something that is regularly used.
It's like saying, do you paint with, like everybody knows you paint with acrylic paint or oil paint, watercolor or oil paint. So in printmaking, there's a lot of materials that you work with, but two of the most common ones are wood block, and which is actually a piece of wood, or linoleum, which is probably what you'd use if you ever took art in middle school. You carved and made prints. Maybe some
my middle
did.
School was not very involved in the arts.
I teach it in middle school, and I was teaching middle school, and a lot of people mention that when they see my work. But yeah, a lot of people use that leathery tile surface.
Dope.
Yeah,
I know. I wish my middle school taught me how to carve linoleum and make
a piece of paper
prints.
and a box of crayons.
Yeah.
Don't hurt yourself, kids.
I think the most artistic thing we did was like the I forget what it's called, but it's when you don't pick up your pencil. Like it's like that
I remember
single
doing that.
line.
Yeah.
Thing,
I had one art teacher that actually sat down and tried to teach us I'm going to teach you to draw a perspective now.
Yeah.
So draw the little lines at the center and then make them wider as you come out. We're going to draw
what? We don't just play Connect 4 in this class?
Yeah.
No, we're going to learn a thing.
It turned into a pack of crayons on a paper. Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah.
That was it. That was my art.
It's not standardized curriculum.
I can't.
Which the last time shouldn't be.
I think the class was middle school. I think 7th grade was the last time I had an art class.
Yeah, I took art in
I
high
think
school.
if it was standardized, people would feel more comfortable trying things because imagine you go to first grade and you learn, addition and subtraction, and then you don't take math ever again until high school, and then all of a sudden they're saying, well, and this is how an art class works. We're going to do a little multiplication. We're going to do a little bit of fractions. We're going to do a little bit of calculus. And then we're just going to, and you're going to like play with it. I'm going to give you all the problems. You figure it out.
Okay, but I'm just going to give you all tools.
And that's how art class is for a lot of people. Because you don't learn fundamentals. The only way you can do calculus and fractions because you remember what the numbers values are when you see the digit, and because basic addition, subtraction, and you build on concepts. So if art was standardized all the way through, people would be less intimidated by it.
Oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. It does.
You might not be that good at it. You might still be terrible at it, but you understand it. Like you can be terrible at math and know that there's a reason why. Like you can do some things. You get it.
Right.
Like it's not magic. When
It's enough to
good
get
at
by.
it.
Yeah.
But you're not you're not a mathematician at that point.
Yeah. That's why people say you're born with it.
All right, that makes sense. So I got to ask, because I've had this sort of question like brewing in my head, looking at your art and how you've basically been essentially like beating on the craft for, like you said, like 10, 12 years, like over a decade now, to get to where you are. Based on what you've seen this year, what would you say is the future of your art? Like, where do you think it's going next? What would be the next step, I guess I could say?
I can't really talk about all of them right now, but I have to
But they're cool projects.
They're awesome projects. So those have been projects that I'm excited about. One thing I'm looking forward to getting into is getting the artwork on merchandise and product design. So, shirts and bags and stuff that you would see at stores all over the country. Another thing is I still want to get into comics. I've always wanted to be a comic book artist, and it's a weird medium to see in comics, but it's one that I think would stand out because, if you're a fan of comic book artists and comic book art, some people collect the original pages that are drawn.
Yeah.
Right? And they're super expensive because they're one-of-a-kind published artwork. So when something's
It's like another
published,
level of
when
fucking one-of-a-kind.
when things are published, they tend to in the public eye get more value. So
Because they've been approved by some kind of
they
obscure
exist. They're
organization.
canon. They're content.
Yeah.
And then so one of the ideas I've had is to create a comic for a publisher that's known with this medium, so that when and if it's successful and people want to buy the original artwork, I can give everybody a print for like 1/10 of what you would pay for a comic book.
Dude,
art.
that's amazing.
Yeah, so it's just something that allows. And now that I've said it, someone will probably steal it, but it doesn't matter. But
Shit.
the point,
Miller, cut it.
yeah,
Miller, cut it.
dump it. So no, but I want to get into all these different avenues. I'm working with some companies in the music industry, some companies in the comic book industry, some companies in the film industry now, in different capacities, so that when they wrap up and they're made public, I just don't want to be seen as only a printmaker. I'm not really a printmaker. I make prints,
Right.
but I'm not really a printmaker in the way that some amazing artists like. There's a guy named Sean Star Wars. He's one of my favorite guys. You should look him up online, at Sean Star Wars. That guy's a printmaker, and he does some crazy stuff, and he knows his game. My buddy Brian Reedy, he's a real
Brian's got some really nice stuff.
Yeah, he's actually like a trained printmaker. I've always just been an illustrator, and I like working in printmaking because it's fun for me. I get to cut stuff and print stuff. It's like I change up all the time, but mostly because when I sell artwork, I don't have to fleece people. Not that it's fleecing. I don't have to take. It's easier for me to sell it for a lot less. It's an inclusive product because I can make multiples.
You can just hit this wider net of people that appreciate it, right? Because so many people like the theming of the prints that you make.
Yeah.
So it's it sucks to have a handmade item and have to be well, this is $4,000.
Well, I mean, if you're selling it and someone's buying it, then that's fine, and you can always make a digital reproduction. But I like the idea that you can democratize art collecting for people, because I think it makes people think, well, I liked that experience of buying art from an artist. That was cool.
You're like an
I would like to do that
entrepreneur.
again. Yeah, entrepreneur. That's no points for that, by the way.
Ooh,
0
God.
points. Millie's listening.
Did you feel it? Did you feel it in your spine?
It's that when we're done recording, I am going to hit you with this microphone.
Dude, yeah, I'm expecting like the second these mics come off, just a swift kick to the nuts.
Just dunk. Like,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I mean, that's cool that you have this like, I don't even want to say a path. You have sort of like a,
I have
like
goals.
you have like a web,
Plans.
you know, where you're like, I'm
That's how I
going
wanna
to go
think
here,
about it, yeah.
here. But that's good. That's great that you're kind of taking your art and saying like, I don't want to just limit myself to printmaking. I want to be able to give other people my art in different mediums.
Yeah.
And still make it affordable where it's like, I know if I see AttackPeter at a convention, yeah, like I can totally swing 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks for a print from various sizes. And like you said, it's a one of a kind thing. He made this with his hands. He didn't just throw this on a USB stick and then print 400 copies of it and just bring it here. That means a lot to people.
Yeah.
You know, that's important. Like I have let me see. I think yours is the only probably piece of art that I have in my house right now that's handmade.
Yeah.
Everything else is digital print.
Yeah, it's just someone.
I mean, I collect a lot of digital prints that I love, from artists whose artwork that either has already sold or I can't afford it. But
no, but there's something to be said
there's like
for
art money is like a whole different kind of money.
Yes,
It's a whole different kind of money.
You're on a whole new tax bracket at that point.
Well, I collect that the same way people in our position would collect shoes.
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah.
So like you don't have to be rich to have a lot of Jordans. You could just that be the thing that you like to collect.
Yeah.
Or to soup up your car, or to, trick out your house with the best TVs and all that. I mean,
Or to maybe shop at Nadu.
to shop Nadu.
Right,
It's
like-
not that expensive compared to Home Goods, by the way. And so to me, that's something that I like to collect is artwork, but usually from artists that I have met or have had some experience with, and then the artwork becomes like an artifact.
Oh, that's
Of
awesome.
the
It has a
experience.
personal meaning to you.
Yeah. So it's like when you go to a different country or a different city and you buy, even if it's a magnet of the city, because it's not because the magnet's so great. It's just that like this is a cool reminder that I did this thing.
Yeah. It's your like memento.
Yeah.
That's really dope.
Well, I had one last question for you. Do you have any sage-like wisdom or advice for young artists or any artists that are starting out and maybe, I don't know, maybe they're directionless or they're just kind of like, oh, what do I do next?
Yeah.
What comes
I
now?
mean, that's probably one of the things that like happens the most, right? Is that people are like, where do I go? What do I do?
Well, I never really knew what to do, and sometimes I preface all this by saying I haven't even begun to scratch the surface that some other people, the levels of success that other people have had. But for whatever little I've accomplished, I've never really had anybody tell me, this is what we do. My dad wasn't an artist. My mom wasn't an artist. Nobody was in that realm. So I had to figure it out. And the only way I did was kind of like reverse engineer.
Oh, okay.
In other words, I would say, who is now where I want to be?
Walk it back.
Who is the most successful person in the realm that I want to be? And then who is the most successful person in the realm that I want to be in that I have access to or can get access to? Yeah. I've always thought that way. And I've always literally tried to approach those people and then say, this is what I'm trying to do. Tell me what to do. And early on, that was super annoying, I think, to people.
People are just like, what? I'm trying to do this shit.
Yeah, seriously. But I didn't know any better, and I just felt like, share information. It's a cool thing to do. But a lot of people were annoyed by that, and it wasn't, so a lot of hard knocks led me to go, well, let me just go do something better than I was doing already, and then bring it to them again and go, look, I did this. What should I do next? And there's enough of that back and forth of trying to improve your skill level and then trying to communicate with people who are successful. That back and forth kind of like pulls you up the stream a little bit to the point where you're gaining such knowledge. You're getting like one tiny bit of information every time, but you put that together, and then before you know it, you already are kind of operating instinctually because you've been hearing it so much. It's just, look, everything, like all of us here are, adults, who have jobs and have bills and we can pay them and we're not, panhandling. So at some point you were able to get from where you were as a kid to here. The only difference is some of the like creative goals that people have, the artistic goals, are more ambiguous because most people don't do that. And therefore, most people that were adults in your life can't give you that advice.
Yeah.
So you have to seek the people who do it, which is a smaller part of the population, and then just talk to those people. But all the while realizing that if you're going to go and bother someone and get their time, this is what I'm saying before, you better have some like fear of shame that makes you, make your best possible work before you approach them. It's weird, but you don't want to disrespect someone's time. So if you're going to walk up to them, sometimes it's like a once in a lifetime chance that you ask, but if you're going to approach somebody, really make sure you've done everything you can where you're maxed out of like, I don't know what to do. But, if you work on your skill and meet people who are successful and keep going and just be friendly and be kind. And like you were saying before, embrace the fact that this is a long journey.
Yeah.
A long
and then
journey.
By the time you stop and look back, you've
It
been
doesn't
doing
feel like it's very long.
No, and you've been on a path for however long you've been doing it. It's like, I've been doing it this whole time.
That's why I think Instagram and stuff like that is so important, because you start documenting everything. When you really feel like I'm onto something here, you start documenting it. Whenever you feel like you're not accomplishing, go look back at the post from a year ago.
Yep.
And try to see where you were then to now. And then if you just remove any emotion from it, which is a huge thing, like don't get too high off your success, too low off your failure. But if you remove that emotion and you look at it, you realize, well, the trajectory is up.
Yeah, you're only going to get better if you keep practicing.
If you just do what you've done so far, your trajectory is to get up. I'm sitting here at a table with a bunch of equipment that had to be researched and purchased for the fact that we can do this podcast. So that means you did more than 99% of the population to make something happen, right?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing. Are you willing to do more than 99.9% of the population for whatever your goal is? And then it just happens.
Yeah, and rinse and repeat.
Yeah. And
what was the episode cutoff? That was like most podcasts fail at episode 8 or something like that.
They fail at like episode 4 or 5.
Yeah,
like
something like that. Where it's like,
what's this one? Are we in the 5th?
12th.
Oh, nice. So we're
So it's like even already it's like you've done more than 99% of the population and then 99% of that population.
Yeah.
But I still look. I like, to me, the fact that we've done 12 episodes. I can't even remember the title of all 12 of our episodes.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it feels like I've done more than that.
And that's the point. The point is not to be like focused and making things precious. Like every episode is not a precious thing.
No.
It's just documenting.
I'm getting better at learning that, because there's some episodes that we wrap up, and as soon as we turn off the mics, I'm like, God, that was hot garbage. I hated that episode. There's other episodes where him and I have gone bounding down the stairs to go tell Millie, like, you're not going to believe what the fuck we just recorded. We just dropped a bomb.
Yeah.
And then I hear it back, like I'll listen to the podcast in the car, and I'm like, damn, son.
Yeah.
How we got a good lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Yo.
Well, if
straight fire, son.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Then you just realize that the trajectory is forward and up.
Yeah.
And then there are little things that happen along the way if you continue to be consistent that are like force multipliers.
Yeah.
It's like if you do this for a while, then maybe, to use your example, you go to VidCon one year.
Yeah.
And maybe you just go with the goal of, I want to see what this is.
Yeah, I just want to see what this community is about.
And then while you're there, you are in line with somebody who's plugged into something else. And you exchange information. And you know what I'm saying? Like those things you can't plan for. Mm-hmm. You can only be ready for them.
Yeah. And sometimes they offer like opportunities to do something that you never thought that you would be into.
That's it.
Right? Like you meet someone, you're like...
Say yes to everything.
Oh, that's the thing. Yeah, dude, that's what I've been doing that. Like this year has been yes to everything.
Everything.
Fudge on a stick, dude.
That's it.
I'm trying to stay clean for the kids, dude.
We're good.
Don't look at me like that. I'm trying to stay clean.
It's all good. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's it. There's like those are the things that... we put ourselves out there, to be ready for those things, because they're, like I said, force multipliers. You just can't predict. And if one catches on, it's like, boom.
Yep.
Yeah, it like automatically leads to the next one.
And now you better be like, okay, are we ready? Okay, everything's good. I'm prepared for that. Okay, let's get it done. Let's kill it. And then you use that thing for the next thing.
Yeah.
Like because you accomplished that one thing, now the next thing is more doable. Like in your mind, you feel more confident about it.
Also, like surrounding yourself with people who might not even necessarily be doing the same thing you're doing, but just surrounding yourself with creative types, it forces you to up your game every time you want to do something new, or every time you want to try to improve yourself, you're like, damn, son.
And positive people.
Like, go-getters too.
Yeah, people who are like happy to see you, glad to be your friend, but also they got their thing going on.
And they want to see you do better.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yo, if I can do it, you can do it too.
Yes.
But you're holding something back, so go.
Yeah. And I've cut, that was a big thing for me. I cut a lot of people out of my life that I felt were a drain.
Yeah, they were bringing you down, and they weren't doing anything.
It happened to be right around the same time that things started picking up. And I don't know, it's correlation or causation, but it's like at the same time as that happened, I was just like, well, there's no one here to tell me no anymore.
That's another good piece of advice, man. Like surrounding yourself with people that are going to uplift you instead of try to bring you down.
Yeah,
because it might not even be a friend that does the same thing that you do. It might be a friend that's like, hey, I just like, oh, you're an artist and you're in high school and your best friend is he skates.
Yeah,
but he's the one that's always telling you, yo, your art's dope.
Yeah, or you're
like,
just doers.
Keep doing it, killing it.
I mean, even like my wife. Like my wife is like super. She's a Beachbody coach into fitness. She's been doing it for 3 years. Her business is getting bigger, and like seeing her like get results and stuff like that, it motivates me to do more. Like it motivates me to be like, what the fuck am I doing? Like she's doing all of this stuff, and I'm just like, what?
But she's also your wife is also like the master of accountability.
Oh my God, yeah. No,
if she sees you breathing in the wrong direction, she'll be like, "Did you do your push-ups?"
She's like "Whoa!"
Yeah, Christy's a force of nature.
She really is a force of nature, but I appreciate it. But yeah, it's important to surround yourself with people like that push you to be better than what you were yesterday.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's awesome.
And then you have to pay it forward.
And then you have to pay it forward, right? And spread that love of knowledge.
Talking about all the feelings that we've just discussed.
Is this a professional segue right here? Oh my God.
This is. Talking about the feelings that we just discussed, we're going to discuss some strange feelings. How'd you feel about Stranger Things Season 3?
Oh, wow. We're going hard into a Stranger Things review?
I thought it was awesome.
You liked it?
I thought that was a great season. And
I liked Peter.
First of all...
Shut up.
Yeah, first of all, I it's hard for me to dislike anything from that show. Like, even when I didn't love Season 2, it was only part of it that I didn't like.
Same.
And
what part?
The punk rock gang.
Thank you.
Yeah, and specifically the tall, skinny white dude with the mohawk. It was just too much. And then part of me was like, this is what the movies I liked were like. I just have a rose tinted glasses for looking backwards. But if I challenge anybody to go watch The Lost Boys. You ever seen that movie?
Oh, I love The Lost Boys. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
I love the movie, but just
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, but there's a song in that film that plays throughout the whole film, and I forget what it's called, but it's like cry little sister.
I know the song you're talking about. Yes,
but dude, it's the whole film. Anytime there's any like change in scene or something dramatic happens, it starts swelling up.
That song.
If they did that in Stranger Things, we would all riot. You understand?
For sure, yeah.
So what I'm saying is the things that were like, that was the best. Nothing will ever be Lost Boys. Stranger Things, you just want to be the. It's such a well-crafted take on nostalgia, and at the same time, it's something brand new for like kids that are my students' age, that they love it just as much as I love the stuff that this references. But Season 3 was the best because it had the coolest. Number one, it had the best monsters.
I mean, the budget's insane.
Yeah,
for this.
It's better. Number two, the way the kids were instrumental.
Spoiler warning.
No, you haven't watched it yet.
I'm just saying it now.
No. If you haven't watched it by now.
No, if you haven't watched it, you don't want to watch it, and there's no sympathy. I hate spoilers. Go watch it, dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, the way the kids... Zero
remorse.
Yeah, no.
None. Brutal.
No, the way the kids have to be... To use their own little skill sets that are juvenile, in a sense, to defeat the creatures, what I love. And I love anything that David Harbour's in, including the last Hellboy movie. I don't care what anybody says.
So I heard that it wasn't David Harbour that was the problem with the last Hellboy movie.
Because he's awesome.
No, David Harbour's great. I love David Harbour.
Yeah.
Also, he was on what's this guy like Talking with Sam Jones or some shit. It's like the Black and White podcast.
Oh yeah,
he has a bunch of actors on.
Yeah,
and I found out more about David Harbour. And I'm like, oh wow, you went through like a crazy.
Well, just think
time.
about how old he is. Right, he's probably in his late 40s, early 50s, if we're guessing.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'd be a little nicer.
I'd say
early
40s.
Okay, early 40s.
Well, to me, I'm 5'5", so everybody looks like my dad my whole life. My whole life, everybody's my dad's age, which I'm always 12, and everybody's always 38 in my mind. So, but I met that guy in person at a convention, and he's the nicest guy. And all I could think about was like, damn, you've been working so long before anybody knew that you were Hopper. That's it, dude. That's 3 years ago.
Yeah, to get to now.
Yeah, you think he just like woke up and was like, I'm going to go apply for this Hopper gig. That guy's
Yeah.
So whenever I see that, I always have respect for it. But that guy's the man. Anything he's in, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
David
watch.
Harbour is great. Also, like the attention to detail in season 3, like that whole mall, the Starcourt Mall. I was like,
that's it. Having the thing like around a mall is instrumental, or like it's. I associate malls with fun, with youth, with that era.
yeah.
Like that was a destination.
Well, that was the first like big, like the 80s were when malls really got like
took off
massive,
big,
right? Yeah, like these massive, places
He's
to
44,
congregate.
by the way.
No way. Oh, my
He's
bad,
44
dude.
Damn, you were
years old.
spot on with that.
My bad. He looks young. I don't know why I said that. Because he has like such an older personality.
Damn, dude, when David Harbour hears this, because he listens
I
to
know
our
he
podcast
does
regularly.
He does.
By the way, his first ever
I'm gonna
acting
tag
role.
him. Let's all tag everybody listening.
tag
Tag David Harbour and Vance for no reason. Just tag him.
Together, though.
Yes.
He
Confuse
began acting
everything.
in 1999 on Broadway. He was in the revival of The Rainmaker.
Dude.
His first
The
televised
revival
debut.
of the Rainmaker.
His first televised debut ever was Law and Order, where he played a waiter.
No, I got to go back and watch.
And
Law
he
and
was
Order.
in something else right before Stranger Things, where it was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that,
Let me see.
but not caring that he was in it or anything. There was something. Yeah. 17 years before anybody cared about on a grand scale. That's
Yeah.
grinding, bro.
I mean, like whenever you see anyone that's why I hate when people. Yeah, I get it. Once you're an established actor or something like that. Yeah, okay, you have a lot of money. Life is a little easier, but
Dude.
Oh, it was
to
2000.
get
it was the
there,
Newsroom.
What was it?
It was Newsroom.
Newsroom?
2012,
I never watched
2014.
that,
He
though.
played the recurring role of Elliot Hirsch,
I never watched that.
and then in 2016,
is that the one that was on HBO? Newsroom?
With Jeff Daniels.
With Jeff Daniels? Yeah.
The famous opening about where he talks about how America's
How
not
America's
the
not
best.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool, and the rest of it was a little browbeating for me.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's a bit.
I'm there with
who's
you on
Aaron
that one.
Sorkin's the
Yeah,
writer.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's very browbeating.
You
as a
either
writer.
you either into that guy or you don't.
Yeah.
But I liked The Social Network.
Social Network was very good.
It was.
I liked it a lot. But I also liked it because Jesse Eisenberg, I think.
Oh yeah, I liked it in spite of Jesse. Well, actually, that was a perfect role for him.
He played a good Zuckerbot.
And he played a terrible Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Single-handedly,
I don't wanna
to
talk
me,
about worst.
to me, single-handedly dismantled the entire DC Universe films.
But do you
I
think
think
he's?
I think
he was.
the
He
DC Universe
really
films dismantled
was the villain.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Do you think he's the worst Lex Luthor?
overarching
Like
villain.
worse than Kevin Spacey?
Yeah, I'd take Kevin Spacey
Oh yeah.
11 times out of 10 over him.
Yeah, even with the Baby Raven,
Yeah.
I'll take Kevin Spacey.
More of a villain.
Yeah, way more of a villain.
It like brings an extra layer.
I hate him more.
It's a tangible villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, I love Stranger Things season 3 as well.
It was great.
Is that debated? Is
I
like
thought
people
in the order. Dude, I saw some
Or is
reviews
that the
people,
mile-
Yeah.
I saw reviews that they were like from best to worst.
Yeah.
Season 1, then season 2, then season 3.
No,
and I
it's
was
ridiculous.
like, how could you put season 3
that's
under
clickbait.
season 2?
That's clickbait.
There's a
That's
video
clickbait.
online right now.
Probably,
Some
yeah.
guy that's got like 2 million views on this YouTube video where he's like,
I hate this show.
He makes a really like convincing. I don't agree with him,
Yeah.
but it's a really well thought out, convincing case for why the show should have stopped at season 1.
Okay, fine.
Oh, no, for sure.
And he's like, don't get me wrong, season 2 and 3 are good in their own right. Season
no.
2, hot trash with a weird punk rock gang episode,
Which they totally dropped in season 3, which I love.
Thank God.
They dropped it
'cause
like
was-
hot
See, but I
shit.
still wanted to.
They were fishing to see if that could be like a spin-off that people would like, and it was like, all right,
See, I
I get
still-
it, cool story, but yeah,
No, but I still want to see more of the origins of 11 and all those kids.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to see more of the punk kids. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
thing I've learned recently when, have you guys ever, you've seen Akira?
yeah,
Have you ever
too
seen
many
okay.
times almost.
So, like, I recently was tasked with reading the manga, which is like,
Continues the whole story.
well, no, it's like,
It is the whole story.
Well, it shows you that the movie is like the movie takes place in the first 2 volumes and the end of the 6th volume. So there's like a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff that happens in the manga that is not in the movie. But neither here nor there. The Stranger Thing. Oh yeah, that's right. Stranger Things is so much of like it borrows so much from Akira in the first place.
Yeah.
And so it's like you could have crapped on it for that, and nobody really knew those things. Like you could have said, "Oh, it's too derivative," and it's just that's not why I like it. The reason I like it because those kids are awesome actors, dude.
they are. They're great. Their cast is
every
outstanding.
person on that cast
Yeah.
is
It's like
unbelievable.
it. It's like
dude.
it. I went in to see it with so much like,
I haven't seen it yet.
oh man,
It's
The
so
new one.
good.
yeah, dude, it's better than the original one.
Way better.
Yeah, dude. I'm sorry, and
Hands down.
I was so aggravated when I saw the clown design before they even released the trailer. I'm like, this is ridiculously bad. I thought it was so bad. I thought
You
it was like,
hated the Pennywise design?
oh, I thought it looked like a terrible Shakespearean.
It did have
I
that
don't
sort
know.
of very.
I hated it, and I was like, "This is gonna be bad." And I went to the theater going, "Okay, get ready. This is gonna be a train
Porqueria,
wreck." Yeah, and I was, and even with that, anger and hatred in my heart.
Like a Sith.
I couldn't help it, and I loved it so much. And when I rewatched it, I'm like, yeah, the movie's good, but those kids are awesome.
They're
out of
superstars.
control, dude.
Awesome.
I've been doing like an acting class for the past few months, and like looking at it now, knowing like all the things that they have to go through in order to get that, like it's unbelievable how at that young of an age you're able to like represent the things that are happening in the script so well. Like,
You know,
it's
what's
crazy.
funny? I did a convention where in Miami where many of them were the guests of the convention.
Yeah.
All of them except for the kid from Stranger Things.
Which one? Finn Wolfhard?
He was like I don't know his name. Maybe
Mike?
Mike.
Mike Finn Wolfhard, yeah.
And
Best last name in the world.
and the redhead chick, the girl.
Sadie.
So
Sadie
they
Sink.
weren't there,
Sadie Sink.
but all the other kids were there. And,
okay.
and not the Shazam kid either, I should say.
The Shazam
The
kid?
kid who was in Shazam, who's like friends with the kid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not
I know
those
who you're
guys.
talking
Okay,
about. Yeah, not
the
him.
asthma kid from It.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, the rest of them were all there.
Mm-hmm.
And after they did their panels, or whatever, I guess they started walking the floor and they came to our booth. And they're the nicest but shy, like not shy, maybe reserved kids.
Yeah, because they're kids.
Yeah, but it's weird. That goes to what you're saying. It's like they have to be super skilled and talented to be able to just turn it on. They're not like when you think of a young child actor that's like, it's show business everywhere I go. You know, it's like they can turn it on and off, which is so cool.
Thank you for channeling Shirley Temple, by the way.
Like, wow, that kid's got chops.
Yeah, they're super nice.
That's awesome.
I'm just really excited.
It doesn't
now
make it
that-
by your booth. Like that's
Yeah, that's
humbling
dope.
too.
It's also weird because I'm 30. I guess that was 2 years. I was 36. Wait, how old am I now? I'm 30. I was 34 then. And I'm like, they came to my booth and I'm like, oh, dude, you guys are the kids from It. What's up? I got a picture with you. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, I'm a teacher. This is, in some level, this is like a weird thing to be like fanboying over like young kids. But
No,
it's what it is.
they're
It was what
Kids out here,
over the
kids
kids
out
are
here
so cool.
killing it.
And no, but the funny thing is like the one chunky kid, my favorite one. I forget his name.
Dustin.
I forget his name too.
He's
No. He's talking about It. So it's
In
Oh,
It.
Oh, okay.
And to me, by far, that kid blew me out of the water with his performance. And he was so I'm like, dude, you were awesome in It. He's like, thank you very much. And he extended his hand to shake my hand, and I'm like, oh man, it's so cool. Hey, you guys in my booth.
He's a
It's
kid,
like
so he
that.
doesn't understand social interaction as
No,
well because he
he's-
hasn't practiced it.
I don't understand it. 'Cause I'm like,
Yeah,
and
you
he's
broke.
like, nice to meet you. Thank you so much.
Oh, so he's like Sean Penning it. He's just like, hello.
Yeah. He's so cool, and I'm such a jerk.
Because he's had to do it.
You're not a
He's had
jerk.
to do
Yeah,
this
yeah.
a million times. Where
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
listen,
yeah.
when someone
Yeah.
says they liked your
Yeah,
stuff,
probably.
shake their hand, say thank you,
Yeah.
move on, so
Yeah.
you don't get trapped.
Yeah. I was in
Well,
a trap.
I'm just excited that now the Duffer Brothers have gotten so good at this formula of being like, oh, we can recreate any decade we want. So like, I would love for them to do like something in like the early to mid 90s, like our childhood era, but like with aliens. That would
God.
be, you know how well they could recreate the 90s with the budget that they're going to
Do
be
what?
given now?
Like an X-Files feel? Like
Yeah, almost like
aliens?
X-Files, but with kids. Like, do you remember that I think it was Spielberg that came out with this movie years ago that was like Super 8 or something like that?
that was awesome.
It was produced by Spielberg, but it was
Right.
directed by
Abrams.
JJ.
Right,
That was
so-
his breakout, wasn't it?
Was
That
it?
was his first like really big
Something
movie.
like that, but in the 90s and directed by the Duffer Brothers. Yo.
Or something in the 20s, Depression era. So a bunch of newsy kids
Oh, man.
fighting a mummy that gets like escapes from the museum.
Yes.
Oh, that'd be dope.
Just keep matching up ridiculous things.
Just
Yo,
do
the Duffers.
something in the-
Duffers, you
yeah.
can have this.
Yeah,
This is
something in
freezing.
the
All right, everybody.
colonial times and an ectoplasmic projection that just
Yes.
Listen, the Babylonian Empire.
and it's all yeah exactly.
4 kids trapped in the Babylonian Empire.
And they're
Oh man,
they have to fight hunger.
the most evil of all
Or-
starvation.
We can go. Let's go to Central and South America. 6 Aztec or Mayan children, because I don't remember the mythology of the other one, have to fight Quetzalcoatl.
That would be amazing. What is like?
But
a
he's
jaguar
not an
god of
actual
death?
god. It's just a bunch of adults dressed in one of those stupid Chinese like dragon costumes. That
So it's like
go
the
around.
Village.
It's the Village.
Oh,
it's really
God.
terrible. That's going to be the end of it.
Oh, you're not a fan of the Village?
No, that
Oh, you,
was.
you didn't like the fact they were living in like a weird.
Listen, hold on. Aesthetically, probably one of the better.
No, I
movies
like
that
the
he
whole
did.
movie until the end.
Right
It's
till they
terrible.
reveal what these stupid porcupine idiots are, and you're just like, "Are you kidding me?"
Aesthetically, I really like.
We've been
It's not
shamalama
really like
ding
the
donged
signs.
again.
It's not cool when you feel like you're at
was
you're
lied
at the end of the joke, like you
Yeah.
got punked. That's
Yeah.
not cool.
Yeah, you watch this whole movie and you're like, oh, I'm
like
an
got your
idiot.
$9, bitch.
They're just living in a fucking state park.
Yeah.
God. Talk about getting bamboozled.
That's enough.
Yeah.
What's next on the podcast? I think that's enough.
Yeah, that's basically it. Oh, also, I wanted to ask you, because you were at the...
I think we're done here.
You were,
You know what? I run
It's too
the
much.
show. We're fucking done.
We're gonna end it on. We gotta end it on a high note. Now we just did a good.
what did you
go
think
ahead.
about some of these Marvel Phase 4 announcements? Because there were
my
some
God.
big ones at Comic-Con this year.
I'm the worst person to ask because I'm just like, shut up and take my money. I don't care. It could be like,
really?
yeah, I could.
I
Be,
was so met on it.
no, please. It could have been like, hey, for the next phase, it's all of the Avengers suits, not even the people in them, hanging on a clothesline, and it's just that flapping in the wind
For 2 hours.
Yeah,
The Avengers, they're turned into puppies. We gotta figure this out.
I don't care. I'm there.
They're all kittens.
Avengers, here I come.
22 movies
Airbud.
in, you could
Thor.
literally announce. Yeah, you could have. You could have announced like like a real live action Spider Pig movie as for the whole.
Okay, whoa.
phase.
Hold on,
Stop,
time
stop,
out.
stop, stop, stop,
Time
stop.
out.
That would've been
I would
done.
have
Yeah.
watched that
That's
right
amazing.
now.
That's not a bad idea.
I would literally
What are you
leave this
mad?
interview to
What are you
watch that.
mad about? How old are you?
28.
That's why you don't remember the hard times.
What are you talking about? I don't remember the hard
You
times.
don't,
Of course I
dude.
remember the
You
hard
don't remember
times.
Toby
Wait,
Maguire.
no. Okay, so I'm 36.
Oh, I remember Tobey Maguire.
No. That's
The
not.
fucking
That's
40-year-old
not the
who's
hard
like high school
times.
star.
That's
I know it's not the hard times.
That's not the hard. The hard times was like we would go to conventions or local like mall shows and get bootlegged copies of the never released Fantastic Four movie. You ever seen that?
No.
Exactly, dude.
That's how I know.
Exactly.
I dare you to go up and find that. You'll see like a supposedly big budget summer blockbuster film of the Fantastic Four that was shot like in the early 90s that never was released and it's so bad. But we were like so starved for any live action superheroes.
Yeah.
That we're like, you got it? You got the VHS copy? And that was an
Watch
event.
it right now.
Yeah.
Or the canceled, never aired Justice League TV show on ABC starring that redhead chick from Clueless. No, was it Clueless? Yeah, one of the Clueless chicks. Not the one that.
don't remember.
Not the one that
Yeah, not the main
died
one.
in Sin City.
Oh, Brittany Murphy?
Not her. There was
Okay,
another
not her.
chick.
It was the other one. Oh, okay.
But
I don't know who she is
there's
then.
so much bad use of the stuff that I grew up on.
Didn't Dolph Lundgren play Thor
Punisher
once?
and Punisher, and it was awesome.
Well,
Oh my God, wait, you're-
Nick Cage was also going to play Superman at one
Superman,
point, too.
and
That would've been-
But this is my point. Like,
But apparently the script was amazing.
for the years, everything was either terrible or just conjecture. You understand? So like, if you, that's what I'm saying. Like you don't remember that. Like we used
The dark times.
Yeah, we used to read comics, and then there was like a school-wide rumor. You heard they're making the X-Men movie? I'm like, no. Yeah, it's going to be Dustin Hoffman as Wolverine, Arnold Schwarzenegger as Colossus,
That'd be great.
and I can't remember the other ones, but it was like, and Leonardo DiCaprio was going to play Spider-Man. It was James Cameron produced. It was all rumors forever when
Yeah.
and like we used to read Wizard magazine and get the rumors. And
Well,
it
that's
was-
also at the time where like you don't have social media, you don't
no,
have cell phones.
that's what I'm saying. The
You don't have-
dark
so you have no
times,
internet-
dude. You don't
have no
remember it,
internet.
dude.
Don't
Yeah, but it's
speak
just
to me
like
of the dark
a lot of the
magic
things.
witch.
So
a lot
now-
of the things they
now-
announced, I'm not a fan.
What's
Like
the worst Marvel
Eternals,
movie?
I'm
What's
not
the
a
worst
fan
Marvel
of.
movie? What's the worst one?
The worst Marvel movie?
Yeah, MCU. Like
Ant-Man
in
and
this.
the Wasp, or
Wow. Okay.
I didn't like Ant-Man and the
Okay.
Wasp. I loved Ant-Man.
Unpopular opinion. Go ahead.
And then I would have to say Thor: Dark World.
Yeah, that's the worst one. It's
Yeah,
agreed
Dark
upon.
World was pretty garbage.
That's what. And
Dude,
listen,
Thor:
to me,
Dark World. I can hardly remember.
but let me tell you something. It's not that it's a bad movie. If you watch it, like if that
just
movie,
not
Iron
as
Man
good as
2
all the things around
was
it.
not that great.
it's not that bad.
I didn't
though.
like Iron Man
If you
2.
revisit it, it's not that bad. I'm
Iron Man
telling
2
you.
is not that bad. I think Iron Man 2 is not as bad as Iron Man 3.
The point is, the worst
3 was-
MCU movie is so much better
Than anything.
than when I went to rent a movie at Specs, not even Blockbuster.
Specs.
And they had a Captain America film, full film, American release.
Why does this sound so familiar?
Because it happened. And Red Skull
Great
looked
answer.
like a ground up piece of meat. It wasn't even a skull. He had a nose. Skulls don't have noses.
Did they just put like ground beef on his face?
No, it looked like it. And he wasn't even a German Nazi. He was an Italian fascist. So he's speaking like a Red Skull.
Oh, let's go to Sergio Calzone.
Dude, it's terrible, dude.
A bibbidi bobbidi boobidi.
You don't even remember the dark times,
Get
dude.
out.
That's what I'm saying.
The dark times.
I mean,
So-
yeah, I guess.
So now we're
That's
like,
fine.
hey, you know, we're going to have a Doctor Strange movie called The Multiverse of Madness.
No.
Dude.
That's the only
Dude.
thing.
Okay, Thor,
that
Love
I
and
fucking
Thunder.
freaked out about.
Thor, Love and
WandaVision?
Thunder.
Yeah, but it's based off of like the worst run of Thor.
No, it's not. Mighty Thor's awesome. You never read it.
She is pretty awesome.
You just said no.
It's the worst. It's the worst
You-
selling fucking. It's the worst selling run of Thor.
Nobody bought
date.
Thor comics until the Avengers movie came out.
Yeah.
And nobody buys comics anymore to begin
Nobody buys
with.
comics at all anymore.
So it's like now the fact that the movies are cool, kids are starting to be interested in comics again.
Which is dope.
It's cool. But those runs were actually awesome. The Mighty Thor was a good comic.
The Mighty Thor is a good comic.
I just really wanted to see.
And it had a
Ray
female
Bill.
Thor. And that was cool because
it's what's her name
Mighty
from
Thor.
the
Yeah,
Jane Foster.
Jane Foster, yeah. Jane
Yeah, yeah.
Foster's
But
Thor.
when she holds the hammer now, she's Mighty Thor.
Yeah. Well, anyone who holds the hammer gets the power of Thor.
There's a lot
No,
of
I know, but her literal name, like when she's Jane Foster with Thor
like-
armor, she's Mighty Thor.
Mighty Thor.
the problem is there's a lot of angry dudes in the pop culture fandom that aren't like successful with women.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And they
like
don't
incels.
like
That's not a cool idea for them.
some of them
Yeah.
do not like powerful female figures in film.
Nope.
A lot of them, believe it or not, my students had a problem with Endgame, where there was a scene where all the female
the woman
heroes-
power scene?
I'm like, dude, that's awesome. And if you're a real nerd, like if you really know your stuff, that's how you know who's a fake
Yeah.
Johnny Come Lately nerd.
Well, that's
Ding, by the way.
Yeah.
What, A-Force?
And A-Force, right?
that's A-Force.
And I remember, and that was, look, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I read all the A-Force. I didn't, but I respected it and I knew it was a thing.
Be like, I read Dazzler.
No, I
There
didn't.
are
Definitely not.
also some members of the A Force that are like my favorite. That I think it would be really difficult to put her on film would be Singularity. She's great. She's literally like a cosmic entity that fell to Earth, and she was discovered by I think what's it called, Sharon Rogers, Captain America,
Okay.
and She-Hulk, and she literally just took the first form that she saw, which was like a 14-year-old girl. So she looks like the shape of a 14-year-old girl, but like a
it's like a
cutout in
cosmic
reality,
entity.
and
Yeah.
you just see into
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
But
Oh,
she's
wow.
like crazy
That's dope.
powerful, but she's like, I don't bother using my powers because for what? I could stop all this right now.
So it's getting to the point where the new normal is badass superhero movies. That's the normal. That's the
Yeah,
right.
And so
That's standard.
If you come out with a badass superhero movie, like, yeah, that was awesome, man. And if you come out with one that's like,
It's
it's
still
like, oh my god. And by the way, who among you was a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy before the movie? Nobody.
Oh, no one.
I
Yeah,
literally would trash those comics when they were. My dad would buy me comics when I was a kid from La Carreta.
oh man,
They were multi.
And they were Guardians of the
They were
Galaxy?
everything. You could have
Oh,
had.
okay.
It was anything. And like I would be like, oh cool, Spider-Man, Godzilla,
What's your
Batman,
local comic book shop? La Carreta.
Yeah, it's true because they would sell them in the window where you get the
that's
patalitos. And they were like on 117th and Kindle.
Oh, so it was like an
Yeah.
impulse buy. It was like, hey, buy
it
your
was like,
kids
you know
some
how they
comics.
have-
a la ventana at the window.
Yeah, the window. They would have like bubble gum and candy and toys and a
comics.
pack of random comics. So there was no continuity. You never know what happened before and what comes after. But I would be like, okay, Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, okay. Swamp Thing, that's cool. Guardians of the Galaxy. I literally went
just threw that
Threw
behind
it
you.
over the
tossed
shoulder.
it, dude.
out the window as they're driving
yeah.
home. Like
Tossed it. And now it's like one of my favorite things. So,
Well, I mean, like that was made to be probably one of the best.
but that's why you
most
can't be
unique
meh
Marvel
at an
movies.
announcement. You have to take back your
For
meh.
sure. I don't have to take anything back. I'm not excited about any of it. I don't have to be excited.
So I would take it back for you, like a shopping cart that
could
gets
take it-
left in the parking lot.
You could take it back.
You left
you
it,
never take
but I'm
those
gonna take
back.
it
Don't
back.
fucking lie.
I take,
Now you're lying.
I take other people's back to be passive aggressive.
You stare at them the entire time,
Yeah.
like-
I wait till they. I don't even go shopping. I just stand in the parking lot and I see people leave. I go,
You left that here.
I can't believe
You
you.
left that here.
Yeah.
The only place I don't feel bad doing that is Aldi's because you took my money.
I don't feel bad doing it ever because it creates a job.
Does it?
Yeah.
Trolley picker.
There's people who come and pick up the cards.
Not
You
wrong.
know how much these people at Costco get paid to pick up cards? It's absurd, dude. I think they start at like $14 or $15 an hour just to push cards. Yeah, but I'm
I don't
not kidding
think they
you.
started at 14, 15. Well, now they might.
Now
But-
that he said that, the unions are gonna.
Oh, yeah,
That's
they're
it.
gonna figure out, be like, yo, we get 14?
Yeah,
now for this
yeah.
shit? What the? Did you hear this? Listen to this podcast.
You guys got paid?
We need to take this to the Senate.
Yeah.
Wow.
They need to know.
Instantly.
But yeah, like there was nothing in the announcements besides the multiverse because I'm like, cool, they're gonna do multiverse shit.
I'm
wait,
sorry.
we already said
First
Thor.
off, I'm going to punch you in the mouth with my foot. Blade?
Yeah, Blade, dude.
Are you kidding me? Don't look at me like that with your dumb face.
Blade,
Both sides of it?
Blade.
Yes, Blade.
Not only
Blade, that's what
Blade,
you're fucking forgetting over
Mahershala
Blade.
Ali's Blade.
Yeah, dude.
Mahershala Ali, I love him.
As
two-time,
Blade.
which I'm
two-time
interested to see how
Oscar
it looks.
award-winning Blade.
This is coming from
For a story
zero-
from Miami.
Listen
Blade.
To me. Hey, this is coming to you from 0-time
What are you trying to?
Oscar
Wait, hold on.
nominated
Whoa.
me.
What the fuck are you trying to say about Wesley Snipes right now?
I'm saying that his time's done, bro. He did it. I'm just echoing. If you were a
did
real
do it.
fan of Wesley Snipes, which obviously you're not, you would have known that he put out a statement welcoming and ushering in the era of Mahershala Ali.
Yeah, it was
already.
great. I read the whole
No,
thing.
I'm not against the fact that there's a new Blade.
You're just
I
against
never
the
cared
fact
about Blade.
that you're just against the fact You're just against being a fan of Wesley Snipes. Is what you're saying? Like
No. I love Wesley.
Like
Snipes.
you sort of like him.
No. I love Wesley Snipes.
Like
I love Demolition Man. I love Passenger 52.
Like a fan of Wesley Snipes would be like, oh hell yeah, Demolition Man's come out. And you're like, huh, Demolition Man. All right.
No.
That's the
If
level
they were
you're
remaking Demolition Man, I'd be fucking super.
It would be
jacked.
starring Mahershala Ali.
It would. New Jack City.
He'll just reprise the role of Wesley Snipes.
He does
time.
his whole filmography. That's
Yeah, he does his whole filmography.
Actually, if Wesley Snipes goes back to prison for tax evasion, Mahershala Ali can just reprise the role of Wesley Snipes.
Oh, he can just live his life. Yeah, for
he's
sure.
gonna do his biopic.
Yeah. He'll just walk around saying you always bet on black.
Yeah.
All the time.
Pastor 57.
Well, now we get to one of the better parts of the podcast, which is the Would You Rather.
Okay. Would you rather watch a Blade movie or not watch a Blade movie?
Would you rather I permanently kick James out of this house forever or not? All right, so this comes straight from the internet. And before that, it actually comes from your wife. Are you ready?
My wife birthed the internet, is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
Yeah, the internet went to Gabby.
Yeah.
You Googled it, and Google called Gabby and was like,
exactly.
Hey, he's asking for a
quick
would
question
you rather?
here.
We're
Phone it in.
totally stumped here. Could you help us out?
So, would you rather have all your clothes fit perfectly or have the most comfortable pillow, blankets, and sheets in existence?
No, clothes fit perfectly. That's easy because I'll explain. I've never had the most comfortable pillows, blankets, and sheets.
In existence.
And never had them.
Have you ever had anything
Here I am.
close?
Yeah, and they fit great, and that's way more practical. This is a silly question. This is
Wait,
actually
they
very
fit
easy.
great? Do you wear all your sheets and all your pillowcases as clothing?
No, but wait, are you saying that I can either have clothes
It's either
or
all
bedding?
your clothes for all
So if
time
I choose a
fit
bedding-
perfectly, or your bedding, your sheets, your pillow, your blanket, everything, including the pillows themselves, are the most comfortable things.
But
in
this
all
is a
of
straw
existence.
man argument.
Yeah, well, no,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. No, it's an easy question to ask verbally, but the reason here's what you're not.
Is
taking
it
into
difficult to
account.
ask
Also
like in a
on-
written form?
It's difficult to answer. I'll
On
tell
your
you
way
why.
out, by the way,
I'll
on
tell
the
you
table,
why.
there's going to be the divorce papers.
Exactly.
I wanted you to know.
I'll tell you why.
They're
I'll
ready.
tell you why.
I had them
because
drafted.
what you're not specifying is if I choose for my clothes to fit perfectly forever, which my God, that's amazing. Okay, if I choose that, do I have to get? Can I have sheets that are pretty comfortable, or
Can
do
you
I have to
keep
be
the
sheets you have now?
Yeah.
No. Listen, you're not going to be sitting on like straight like polyester,
Right.
lined with spikes and
Yeah.
But it should
You're
be that.
asking me where I want to upgrade. Where do I want to put my XP points?
Do you
Yeah.
want perfect fitting?
Yeah, I'm
clothes
telling you
for
the
all
answer.
time?
Of course, it's perfect fitting clothes for all time. Are you kidding me? If you look good enough, you can take other people's sheets.
Finally,
Exactly.
Peter and I agree on something.
this is-
Totally
yeah.
take the clothes.
For once.
Yeah,
Not even clothes.
You take the clothes. Why would? Who
In
cares
fact,
about
if
sheets?
the clothes fit that well,
What do you
they're-
need the sheets for?
Right.
Just sleep in their clothes.
Yeah.
Now, what if? What if? Would you rather?
You're basically asking, would you rather look great all the time, or be a little more comfortable?
Would you rather your clothes fit perfectly forever?
Go ahead.
But
Go.
you can only wear each outfit one time,
Oh damn.
and then it like just disappears.
Better. Do I have to buy every outfit?
Yeah. You
you
have to
still
buy.
gotta
You have
buy,
to keep
but-
buying. You have to keep buying clothes.
It's like a magical power. Like
Yeah.
when you go to touch the clothes, boom. It's
Yeah, just- it's
instantly
gone.
your
Does
size.
it affect the whole universe or the whole planet? Because if it does, then that would bring the price down of the subscription services for clothes.
No, it's just this is only you.
Got it,
This
got it.
pertains
Yeah, it's
to
a power
you
that only you
Yeah.
control.
got it.
Like I can hand you my shirt, but
Got
if
it.
you touch it and go to wear it, it's now
That's it.
fits you
Okay.
perfectly.
Go ahead.
Or would you rather have literally the most comfortable bedding, like
Known in
bedding,
existence.
known in existence, but you can only sleep 6 hours a night, no matter what?
I only sleep 6 hours a night.
Damn.
So you take that one?
No, I would.
You'd still take the clothes?
Yeah, because the thing with the clothes, I got to buy them all. But yeah,
That's what I'm saying. It costs you money.
I wake up every morning at 4:15.
Oh, so you sleep 6 hours no matter what?
You don't know who you're talking to, bro.
No, dude,
I have very clear-cut opinions
Clearly,
on
yeah,
everything, and
clearly
I don't
I
need
don't.
a lot of sleep.
Charlie, you're just thinking about Blade all the time. Thinking about
it.
that multiverse.
That's it.
I think about the Daywalker
Yeah,
from time to time.
yeah, but it's hard. See, like going back to the movie thing, it's hard.
This is
Blade-
what
hard for me.
this is what you should have
'Cause
asked.
I'm
This
ruined.
is what you should have asked me. Would I rather live forever? Okay, never die. All right, or and never see another MCU film.
Okay.
Okay.
Right? Would I rather live forever and the MCU, the Marvel Studios, closes down?
Okay.
And we never see another. Or would I rather get to see every possible MCU film that's ever going to be made within the next 30 years, right? And then immediately die after? That's the question for me. I cannot.
You would
I don't
have
know.
to
I don't-
think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, both of those realities are horrible.
Well, hold on. Time out for your immortality.
This is
Wait,
the question.
that's
we need to
horrible.
Hold
ask.
on, but immortality. does this mean you can't die? Or are you like invulnerable to damage? Like if I shoot you, you're dead, or it's like
no one's gonna shoot me.
That's a real
I
noise,
live
by the way.
Pretty normal life, but I'm going to probably not age.
Okay, so it's a Dorian Gray thing.
Hold on.
Okay.
I'm not gonna age.
You don't age. So
I mean,
right
or I age like
now, the Peter. No. The Peter of right now is the Peter that is forever
pretty much.
till the end of days.
That's it.
And even then, you're alive.
Yeah.
because you can't die.
Right. So that's the other thing you don't think about.
I mean, I think that reality is horrifying.
Right.
Because there's just a quick PSA. If you've heard any weird noises in the background, we don't have a hostage. Those are the beautiful noises of sleeping Pekingese.
That's Molly and Deuce.
Dreaming whatever they dream about. Probably trying to breathe better. I don't know.
I mean, Deuce is,
I wish my nasal canal
long
was
snout.
normal.
Deuce is in a different state of unconsciousness right now.
No, he's connected to the multiverse right now. He's in there.
So is Molly.
He's getting it. See, but that's a hard. You want to live forever?
No, I'm just saying, like,
So what would you pick?
would you want to? Okay, what's the total film? What's the total elapsed running time of
All MCU films?
of 20 films?
Let's say on average, they're all 2 hours.
So let's say 40 more hours of life, but you see all of them
Over the span
We're
of 30
living
years.
forever.
Like to the eventual
That's
heat
tough.
death of the universe. Like
Everybody collectively did the look away and sigh when I asked that question. That's how you know it's a good question.
I know. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm telling you, the would you rather I heard the other day.
I'm okay with
was
living forever. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really need the MCU.
I don't, dude. But living forever sounds. Dude, you get tired.
Yeah.
It's taking away the ability to end it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're
But
out
that's
of.
why I was
it's not
asking,
in your control
though.
anymore.
No, but that's what I was asking. The immortality. Is
You're
it an
immortal.
But can you die? Like
No.
through injury?
Like the planet explodes, you're alive.
You're just floating in space. Like I
Yes.
don't need air. I'm good. I can
Yes.
just. Okay. That was a really good whistle. I didn't think it would come out that good.
I thought that was a phone.
Did you? Mm-hmm. I kind of sounded like the
wasn't looking.
world's smallest foghorn. It's a tiny, like a Hot Wheels sized tugboat. Just
For hamsters. I don't know. Which would you pick?
I don't know.
You don't know? You got to pick
do you
one.
lean sort of more to one more than the other?
I don't know. I can't. do
Honestly,
that.
the only thing driving me in that question is: do I want to live forever, or do I want to be able to die? Like the
Yeah.
movies
yeah,
have
but
nothing
it's
to do
die
with it to me.
soon.
30 years.
Sure, but it's either like
gonna make
hey,
it to
you have a
60.
really short lifespan now, or you have a never-ending
Yeah.
lifespan. It's like, I mean, after 1,000 years,
And
aren't you
watch
just
all
like
your loved ones die. And bury
over and
bury
over
your
and
grandkids.
over? Yeah, I mean, eventually you just become a troglodyte, right? Like you're not even gonna know anyone.
No.
Because why are you gonna go through that pain again? Or people are just gonna be so mundane to you because you've acquired so much experience that you're like, I don't care about anything.
One more? I like how it's subtly quieter than the last one. All right. Well, it has been absolutely fantastic having you on here.
It was good. We did good.
It's been
It was
alright.
really fun. The insights were great, by the way. You gave a lot of really
I
good
agree.
answers.
I was great.
Yeah, no, you were terrific.
I really brought my.
We
A
were
game,
terrible.
guys.
You were great.
No, you did good.
You brought the A game.
You guys did great.
I brought my C plus
Thank
game.
you so much.
You guys were good. You guys.
I think it was good.
You did. You were excellent examples of what this is supposed to be, and I was an excellent example of what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, no,
I
as
like the
far,
emphasis you put on the
as
excellent.
far-
Great.
Eli, would you agree as far as guests go, he's been the best one so far?
So far, yeah.
Yeah.
So far.
You've clearly been the best
Well,
one
I'm
so
going to pay
far.
attention to whoever the next guests are, and immediately if there's a better one, I'm going to come back.
Oh,
But
dude.
mid-interview,
but I'm
the
gonna-
door gets kicked
Dude,
out.
good
No,
luck.
but I'm going to
Deuce
be.
is up next.
Ah,
So-
dang! I was going to juggle like
It's gonna be a lot of
chainsaws while I did my next one.
Oh, can you juggle too?
No, I can't do it.
Oh, come on.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to find out more about our guest, you can definitely find him on Instagram under AttackPeter.
Yeah.
Or Twitter or Facebook.
Yes.
Under the same exact handle, I'm assuming?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you
and then you can
do you
also
have
go
a
to
Facebook
his-
page?
I do. Attack
Is it
Peter.
under AttackPeter as well? Okay. Awesome.
And then you can also find him on Etsy.
Everything.
if
Just,
you wanna
can
buy
just
some
Google
product.
Attack Peter and it all
yeah, if
comes
you Google AttackPeter, everything comes up.
up. One stupid name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and same thing for us. If you want to know more about what's going on with the show, listen to previous episodes. You know where to find us.
Yeah.
You've listened to all the episodes.
Yeah. Every
I tell you to Google the dairy
day.
aisle, but I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah,
I don't think we're gonna get
random
Google.
pictures of
How about
dairy
you Google
aisles.
Dairy
It's
Aisle
gonna-
podcast?
You could. I actually haven't experimented with adding the word podcast.
We
to the
probably
end of it.
should do that.
Yeah, because I feel
The
like at this point, if you
unknown.
just
See,
add
look
the
at that
dairy
pro tip
aisle,
right there, done.
Yeah, no, it's great. Pro tips. That's what it is. So,
We have a couple announcements really quick before we go.
yep.
Big shout out. This is an art-rific episode. So I want to shout out my sister, who is an aspiring artist, who sold her first piece.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a
Good
piece
feeling.
of a lady's dog. She lived
Not the piece of the dog. She
Yeah.
threw
piece
the
of a
whole
lady's
dog.
dog.
Oh no, she quartered the dog. and
found
sent it in
art.
separate boxes. Yeah.
This is 3/16 of your dog.
Yeah, no, she did a painting for this lady. She got paid for it, and it was
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, she was able to open a little art
Yeah.
account.
That's awesome.
I'm not gonna
So,
say, but I know
if-
you told me when we were talking about this after it happened. Yo, she made a
She
princely
made
sum.
a pretty. I don't want to say it.
No, we're not gonna
because
talk about how much,
obviously-
but yo.
she made a. Yes, for a 15-year-old aspiring artist,
Yeah.
Amazing.
she made some money.
Yeah.
Yo, it was
First of many.
If you want to follow her or interested in her page, you can find her on Instagram. It's Artlandia, ARTLANDIA_22.
Yep.
And she's great, and I love her, and she's super talented. So
She,
go
the
follow her.
work, the actual drawing was actually really, really
It's
good.
very good,
for someone
yeah.
who's just starting out. She's only 15 years old. Like,
she's rocking
good.
it. She's killing it.
Yeah,
she's
I
more
mean,
talented
listen,
than I am.
realistically, if she goes the same path that he was describing, where you just keep beating at your craft for
Mm-hmm.
10 years, 12 years, whatever, you're gonna look back and like we said, she has the advantage of having something like Instagram, where she can look back a few years from now and go, "Damn."
Yeah,
I've
she is
gotten
also
good.
a workhorse. Like she loves, like she
Nothing
does
matters.
because she loves it. She's like, she's drawing and painting anything she can get her hands on because
That's
like,
what matters.
That's what she loves. Yeah.
All right, well,
So yeah, but that I think that was the only announcement we had.
that was it. It was low in announcements this time.
That and spay and neuter your animals.
Please do.
Yeah.
So as always, ladies and gentlemen, please take all your purchases to the front of the store. We are closing. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thanks for listening.
Love you guys.
Love y'all. Thanks.
Bye. Say bye, Peter.
Bye, Peter.